My stalker is now in jail for unaliving someone. And now that he's in jail, I feel safer telling my story. Let's bring it back. I have actually known this man and his family since I was a little girl. Let's call him Freddie. So Freddie was a grown man who was still living with his parents. I want to say he was probably like in his 20s or 30s when I was like a child. They lived in the apartment 2 doors down from ours. And so every time that we would see Freddie, he would always make it a point to say hi to my mom. We would joke, my mom, me and my sister, that Freddie had like a little crush on her because we would be walking as a whole family, even my dad there, and he would only say hi to her. But the whole family felt like relatively comfortable. We knew that he was like maybe a little bit off, but it was fine. So his father unfortunately ends up passing away. He was like sick, so it wasn't unexpected. So now it's just him and his mom. So we start like seeing the police show up like every couple of days to that apartment. So much so that it got to the point where they were just like kind of making like weekly visits to see if everything was okay. And once in a while I would show up to my house and there would be like detective cars like parked outside like unmarked, just watching it. They knew him by name. Boom, 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 Freddie, open up the door. Like, we're just here to check. Freddie, open up the door. Like, they was like buddies at that point. And we would hear them consistently screaming at each other. And it just got so much worse as time went on. We end up finding out Freddie is a diagnosed schizophrenic, which is not bad in itself. But he was always like really good on his medications. Everything was fine. We never saw problems until he decided to go off, which was, of course, around the time where the police would be showing up to this apartment. So now I'm in my 20s. The mom is like pretty sickly and they're fighting quite a lot. We end up finding out, I'm not even sure who from, he was like physically abusing the mom. This continues to go on. And around this time is the time where he would start shifting his focus from my mom to me. It started off like pretty innocent. He would just see me and say like, hi Kayla, and sometimes start like a little conversation. But then I started to see him like a lot more than usual. In these conversations, he would always tell me how beautiful I was, how stunning I was, and how much I looked like his wife. Who's his wife, you may ask? In Freddie's mind, he was married to J-Lo. Now, in these little hallway conversations that he would stop and have with me, he would tell me that he knew J-Lo from the Bronx when she was it's funny now because of all the memes. They were like dating and they wanted to get married, but it just didn't work out because she got famous. He bought her a ring and that he proposed to her. Obviously I knew he wasn't on his medication, so I just like, you know, I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. Like I had no idea. I had to just play that part and keep myself safe. But over time, he continued and continued telling me, you look exactly like my wife. You remind me of her. And so I'm like, fuck, this is about to get bad. Go to part 2. My stalker unalived someone, part 2. So this would continue every single time I saw him, which was getting to the point where it was like every single day. Just seeing him in the hallway escalated to him knocking on my door at random points in the day to come see me. There was one particular time where I was home with my grandma and her home attendant, and I hear her open the door and I hear Freddie's voice. She's like, no, she's not home. You need to get out of here. And so I'm a little bit confused. I'm like, you know, it's not a big deal. Like he knows where I live. He lives right in the other apartment. Like I'm just gonna go say hi to appease him. We will find out why she said that in a little while. Obviously he was doing that stuff to his mom, so I know to be wary. As a woman, I felt like I kind of had to play it smart. The man knows my apartment number, for crying out loud. So he pulls up a picture of this really well-known mansion in our area. And he starts telling me that he's gonna buy it. And I'm like, that's really cool. Like, and mind you, our apartment's like teeny tiny New York City apartments. I'm like, what kind of money you got? But anyway, so he starts telling me, yeah, I'm gonna buy it like for you and my son and my wife, and we can all live there together. Mind you, he's showing me the picture of this well-known mansion on Google Images. And so I'm like trying to laugh it off because now I'm uncomfortable. Now I'm scared. And in this conversation, again, he's consistently telling me how much I look like his wife, J-Lo, Miss Jenny from the block. So he's starting to get like more and more in depth about his son. So he tells me his son's name. It's Freddie. Let's go over this. I look like his wife, J-Lo, and his son's name is Freddie. And as he's talking, he's using the position of his wife, J-Lo, and myself interchangeably, as well as himself and his son Freddie and Freddie. He's using their positions interchangeably as well. And so finally, I get him to leave. I close the door and I immediately tell my family. So my family's not happy. My dad's pissed. And so they end up talking to my grandmother's home attendant. And she tells them that the reason that she said no is because he does that every single day. He shows up to my apartment every single day, knocks on the door and asks for me. And so obviously, the home attendant is gonna tell him, hell no, every time. I didn't know that. So I'm not sure how long passes in between these two instances. Me and my family are sitting in my living room, and we hear the loudest bang on our door. It's 11 o'clock at night. My dad gets up, he's like, everybody stay here, I'm gonna go check. He looks through the peephole, and he decides to open the door. We're like, what the hell? It's Freddy. He's asking for me at 11 o'clock at night, and my dad's like, stay over there. So basically, he's telling my dad the same thing that he told me about this house. Now he's added in the point that he is actually a millionaire, and that if I were to marry his son, who is also Freddy, I would never have to worry about anything. I wouldn't have to work, just like his wife, J-Lo. Would be set for life, and he's gonna take care of me. I mean, his son is gonna take care of me. And so my dad is like, listen, Freddy, you need to go home. This has to stop. Freddy takes it well. Now it's to the point where gifts start to show up at my house. I come home to 24 roses in a vase with a teddy bear on it. I'm like, what's going on? The next time I get a gift, it's a dozen donuts, just because. So these interactions continue to happen. And it's starting to get to the point where it's way more concerning than it's ever been. When I would see him out, he would be like, hi, Kayla, say hello to me, try to start the conversation about his wife, J-Lo, AKA me. But then there was one night where I saw him and he was beeline walking. Pretty much nothing behind his eyes, completely straight face, mouth even like kind of like slightly open, like he was not there. Walked directly past me, didn't even look in my direction. At this point is where it starts to get really bad. My stalker unalived someone, part 3. So after this, I do my very best at all costs to avoid this man. Now I'm freaked out. My parents are legitimately scared for my safety because we know everything that's going on in his home. However, if they see him or if I see him, we try to keep it quick, but we're still very friendly and nice. There's a point where my dad walks in on him in the hallway, face completely down, screaming, he's wailing. We know that these are a lot of mental health issues that he's having. And clearly the parents were not well equipped to continue to deal with this, especially that the mom was sick and dealing with this abuse. So my dad tries to talk him down a little bit from whatever it was that he was screaming and wailing about. And eventually he does. Whenever I go out, I have to like let my guy friends know, like, listen, can you please bring me upstairs? No, this is what's going on. And we were just on the lookout for anything that may be an unsafe situation. A decent amount of time has passed where I haven't really seen too much of him, and it starts to become a thing that he's like actually missing. I come home one day and there's a coroner's van outside my apartment building. I walk in the door and I see them bringing out you know what. I'm stunned, but I get upstairs and guess whose door is wide open with police and a medical team? Freddy's door. It was the person who was sadly taken away in the van, his mother. So at this point, everybody's minds are kind of wondering, could this have been him? Fortunately, it was determined that she had passed from natural causes. She was old and sick. However, Freddy is still missing. We have no clue where he is. For weeks. I bet you're asking, so who was the person that he unalived? Well, my mom tells me that she stopped in the pizza store next to our house to get a slice of pizza, and that the pizza guy started to tell her how he received a call from a prison in a different state, I won't say where, from Freddy. Freddy used his prison phone call to call the pizza guy and explain why he was in jail. I won't get into the full details of how this person was unalived. Truthfully, don't have all the information, but apparently it was some sort of accident. At the end of the day, it really is a sad story, but it was genuinely pretty scary for me and my family at the time. I truly hope that he does get the help that he needs. But yeah, everybody stay safe out there.